Hey,
Good evening.
good evening, everyone. Here we are. It's last Saturday of September, and at least I have a nice warm tea. Uh, Father Ben is being not a teetotaler,
Mm-mm.
just drinking your water.
Well, as I said, this is ghost tea, also known as faith tea. If you believe hard enough, you will see the tea bag here. So if you can see the little tea bag right here on the side, if you have the strong enough faith. Otherwise, it is just water.
So we're back to our drinks. So anyway, I thought what I would just share with you a little bit about my week before Father Ben does. So the big thing of the week was that I went down to Reno Thursday night and all day yesterday. Flew back last night to be at the installation mass for Bishop Mungenberg as the 8th Bishop of Reno.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really just a beautiful celebration, very joyful. In fact, for me, it was kind of a little bit of a renewal in the spirit. The prayers, the music, the mass, just the joyful celebration, being with the people there in Reno. We had a nice contingent from Seattle. So it was all just a really great experience. I went more because, I wanted to support Bishop Mungenberg. We've worked a lot together. I just wanted to be with him. There's some part of me was like, the last thing I need to do is fly down to Reno for a day when I got a busy week. but anyway, I was really glad I went. It was a beautiful, beautiful experience. So anyway, I got a nice picture with Bishop Mungenberg and Bishop George Thomas. Bishop George Thomas is Bishop of Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And like Father Ben, as a young person was a member, his family was a member of St. Louis. And in those days, in the 70s, when he was ordained a priest, in those days we were ordaining priests in their home parish.
Mm-hmm.
So Bishop George Thomas of Las Vegas, Nevada, was ordained here at St. Louis. So we have a strong connection with the two bishops of Nevada. Bishop Mungenberg, of course, did several confirmations here, was here a couple of different times. Hi, Ben. Good to see you. That is Ben Marcus, not Ben Bray. So did I play at the casinos? Father Ben, what did you tell me?
Is this being recorded? Yes, it is. Yeah. So to help boost parish funds, I asked Father Gary, hey, well, if you go down to Reno, you could help us out a little bit. So I don't know if in the churches there, instead of collection baskets, if they have like slot machines in the back for the parishioners to use or whatever. But yeah, that was Ben. I asked that exact question of Father Gary, and
Yeah.
I don't think he did. Not this time.
No, not this time. But anyway, it was still fun. It was good to be there. But no casinos. I certainly walked around a lot of slot machines. There are no one-armed bandits anymore. It's all computerized. But anyway, it was good. It was fun. And then today I had a beautiful wedding for a young couple. Well, actually, they were married civilly, so they got married through the church today. It was really a lovely celebration. I actually focused on the year of St. Joseph and the wedding homily.
Just
So
like
I'm
your
wearing
socks.
my St. Joseph socks. Anyway, what I mentioned to them is that in the Gospels with St. Joseph, God speaks to St. Joseph through dreams. And so I mentioned to them that God has a dream for you, and that dream is love. So anyway, there it is.
Aww. that was a reaction, right?
Yes.
It better have been.
I was expecting applause and money, but
That's why you were in Reno.
So, Father Ben, how was your week?
Well, I loved Thursday and Friday because I had full reign of the rectory and managed to clean things up just in time before the pastor came through the door. So that was good. Yeah, but it was a good week. I got to be in the school quite a bit, making my way through all the different classrooms there. For those of you who don't know this about me yet, before entering seminary, I was actually studying to be a teacher. And so my focus was on elementary education, 3rd through 5th grade. And so so being a part of a school has always been a part of my ministry, and I always enjoy going in. And one of the things I like to do whenever I first go into a class is I don't want to start jumping right in and start teaching things. I want to get to know the kids. So what I usually do is I ask them their name. Well, first I'll give an introduction of who I am, just a bit of my background, but then I ask them to tell me their name, and then just kind of usually like a silly question or something, or like ask them to tell me what's an interesting fact about yourself if they're in junior high. And those kids come up with the most interesting responses, and some of them have the most interesting and sometimes violent experiences about how they've been injured. And I think it was I think it was the seventh grade class where I was about 3/4 of the way through, and I was going, okay, I'm legit worried about you guys. But no, ton of fun. I'm going to visit a whole ton of other classes next week, and yeah, super stoked for that.
Yeah, sometimes when I'm eating lunch in the rectory and in comes Father Ben, huffing and puffing, sweaty from playing basketball with the sixth graders.
Yeah, I actually tweaked my knee a little bit 48 hours ago, because I was just playing super hard with them, and then I'm trying to play in the evenings to boost my game a little bit, so I only look half as klutzy as opposed to being an entire klutz when I go out there. And I was going, okay, I'm not as young as I used to be, and I need to give it a bit of a break. So
yeah, I was going to say you're a braver man than I am. So.
All right, we got a comment here from Earl and Charlotte.
Hey, Earl and Charlotte. Oh, yes.
LOL.
Out of the mouths of children.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Father Ben, you get interesting things that the students say about themselves. What's an interesting thing about you?
Okay. Well, two quick factoids. The first is I tore my knee actually building a snowman. I was rolling it uphill, and everyone looks at me and goes, how do you tear your knee building a snowman? I was like, well, I was rolling it uphill. So for you snowman builders out there, be sure to roll the snowball downhill, not uphill. Don't be like what happened with me. And the second interesting thing is I actually got to ride an elephant when I was 5 years old in Seattle.
I didn't know that.
Oh my gosh, such an amazing experience. Elephants are my favorite animal. I mean, despite the fact that I always say go Cougs and always wear Coug stuff, elephants have always been my favorite animal. And we were like at a circus in Seattle, and I was 5 or 6 years old. I remember being on its back and just kind of feeling its skin. Gosh, I'll never forget that memory.
Wow,
Yeah.
That's cool. See, oh my gosh. Now Father Carlos would really love to hear that story.
Well, he would love to ride a giant snake or something, or maybe swim with piranhas. Like, oh, okay, buddy, you do that.
Yeah. Well, very good. That's pretty interesting.
What's an interesting fact about you?
Interesting fact about me. Well, for 3 consecutive decades of my life, I had to have stitches. So in 1966, you can't really see it, but I think you can see the scar on my chin. So that came from, I was in between, the summer in between 2nd and 3rd grade. And we had swimming lessons out at Lake Whatcom in Bellingham. And the school bus took us in, so it took us all the way back to Deming. I stayed overnight at my cousin Jeff's house. My uncle Nick had a German short hair hunting dog, and the dog was out of his kennel. And my cousin Greg pet the dog, and Jeff pet the dog, I pet the dog, and the dog lunged up and bit me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I had to have 7 stitches on my chin.
Oh boy,
which ruined the rest of my summer. I couldn't swim the rest of the summer.
Oh,
so
man.
that was a bummer. And then 10 years later, 1976, I just graduated from high school, from St. Edward High School Seminary. I was working for my dad in the woods. It was Friday night. Friday, I said night. It's 3:30 in the afternoon. Quitting time was at 4. So
You weren't petting a raccoon, were you?
and I was cutting a chainsaw.
Oh wow!
I was cutting with the chainsaw, cutting limbs off a log, and I was thinking more about what I was going to do that night than my work. And the chainsaw, instead of hitting the limb, I hit the log. It kicked up. It came down on my thigh and cut my thigh to the bone. So I had stitches that day, but a lot more than 7. So then in 1986, I had just been ordained like 3 weeks. I went up to visit my great grandmother in British Columbia on Lake Shuswap. I was chopping wood for her wood stove, and when I swung the axe and hit the block of wood, a piece of the block of wood hit me in the forehead and split my forehead open, and so I had stitches in my forehead, just on my eyebrow. Um, and I thought, man, is this going to be every 10 years of my life? It ended after that. So,
So have you cut wood since then?
yeah, I have. It hasn't been recently, but
Hmm.
yeah, I have. I've cut wood since then.
Oh, okay, good. And have you petted a dog since then?
Uh, yes, I have. Yeah. I was just mad at the dog. I wasn't afraid of the dog. I wanted my uncle to put him to sleep. Oh gosh, yeah. So that's the story of my stitches.
Wow, I never knew that all that happened to you.
Yeah. Actually, on my left leg, where I cut my leg, if and the scar, if I'm wearing shorts, is pretty pronounced, and it's also there's an indentation on my thigh. So
Oh, that far.
yeah, it was to the bone.
Wow.
And it was interesting how my two parents reacted. Of course, my dad. So I didn't even feel a thing. You know, I turned around to pick up the saw, and I thought, oh my gosh, my pant leg's ripped. And then so I opened it up, and I could see my bone. So then my demeanor changed. So and I screamed. My dad was running the machine that was called the tower, or the yarder, pulls in the logs that have been cut in the woods. And so my job was to unhook the chokers that the logs had been brought into the landing, brand the logs, cut out the limbs, and then when the logs are loaded onto the truck, to make sure they're all branded. So just go around and climb on the stack of logs, and if they aren't branded, then because the brand lets the people at the dump know where did these logs come from, so we get credit for those logs by the brand. So the branding was important. Um, so anyway, he came flying down that yarder, and oh man, he was pretty excited.
That's an understatement.
Yeah, and so they hauled me into what we call a crummy, but it's a van essentially. So put me in there in the back seat and drove me down. And the ambulance met me and right in front of my grandmother's house. They loaded me from the crummy into the ambulance, drove out. We were in the woods, way past Deming. Deming's almost 20 miles from the hospital. So, it took a while to get to St. Joe's Hospital in Bellingham. Got there and anyway, my dad was a smoker, so he was smoking cigarettes. And at that time, you were allowed to smoke cigarettes in the waiting room. And my mom's a nurse, and so she came in and she said, Gary, I was on, waiting for the doctor to come in. She said, Gary, do you mind if I take a look at your leg? And I said, Mom, I'm not sure you want to look at it. It's pretty bad. And she said, no, it's okay. I'll take a look at it. So she lifted up the sheet and she said, yes, it's pretty bad. She was very calm. And then anyway, when I finally got home, and I was set up at my sister's bedroom because it was close to the kitchen. And anyway, long story short, my mom was calling all her relatives saying, well, I'm just calling to say that Gary was injured today. He just had a cut on his leg. And my dad was still smoking cigarettes. And he said, oh, God, he almost cut his leg off.
Oh, I love this comment from Ben. Father Gary, I'm going to call you Bad Luck Father.
Yeah, right. Oh, then don't get me into car accidents. Oh my gosh.
I remember you telling me about those.
Yeah, I've been in a few. I've actually been in 2 car accidents that involved fatalities.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So anyway.
Wow, your guardian angel's working overtime.
I guess. Yeah.
Actually, one of my questions when I see God face to face, besides why did you make opossums and mosquitoes, is going to be how many guardian angels did you go through with Father Gary? I'm done. Tagging out.
Yeah. All right. Well, from that one little question of what's something interesting about you?
Yeah.
That's a really good question. And even just if you're just trying to get to know somebody, huh? So what's something interesting about you?
Yeah.
Another question that's interesting to ask people is, how's your family? Because a lot of people are really willing to talk about their family, whether there's someone that's struggling
Mhm.
or good things that are happening. A lot of people are. It just kind of shows that extra interest. Yeah, yeah. So, all right. Well, anything else? What do you got coming up this week, Father Ben?
Yeah, so more classroom visits, more things just going around the office. But as a lot of you saw last week, as I was showing you the photos, so I subjected all of them to photos of my godson and goddaughter. My
Yeah.
goddaughter's baptism is next Saturday, actually.
Oh,
So
that's right.
yeah, so
That's
that's so it's up north in Marysville, and so going to go there and see little Lucia Olena Brady get baptized.
Is Father McTutis doing the?
Yep.
He's doing the baptism.
Yep. Yeah, yes, he is. So it'll be the second godchild, and yeah. So how does a priest dress for being the godfather at a baptism? Well, I mean, kind of like how I'm dressed right now, just with the coat and boom, there we go. Except I'm not pouring water on the head. I'll get to light the candle there, which is pretty exciting. I like doing that part.
So, just a little fun fact: one cannot be both the godparent or godfather in this case and baptize because it's two different liturgical roles.
Mhm.
So you can't do both at the same time.
Well, between me, you, and everyone watching for this particular case, I like being the godfather on this one.
Yeah.
There's a lot of heads I baptize, so it's nice to have a different function this
Yeah,
time.
yeah. That's very cool. Yeah, for me, I'm go to the school visiting classrooms on Monday morning before mass. So I'm not quite like Father Ben that gets over there quite so often just because of the various roles that I have. But I do get over there. And Monday morning, I'm going to visit the seventh graders. So I started with the eighth graders, then I'm going down the seventh graders. So eighth graders, I just really gave them the rah rah for being the leaders at the school, and yeah, it was fun. It was fun to be with them. Always good to be with the students.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Well, I hope everyone has a great week. It's always good to be with you, and we'll look forward to the next time.
Yep.
So, Ben, here we go. All right. See ya. Have a great week.
Take care.
Bye.
That was a good clink, actually.
Yeah.